good morning, good afternoon, good evening, of course, depending from where you're hearing my voice from. This is the Biafran Golden Tide, and mighty glad to come your way again. I hope you keep enjoying our audios. I want them to keep you informed, not just enjoy them, keep you informed and knowledgeable about happenings around the USB, the United States of Biafra, and of course, issues concerning Biafra. Because, of course, Biafra is what we drink, Biafra is what we eat, Biafra is the bread that we breathe. Biafra, of course, is, the blood flowing in our veins. So you're welcome this morning is once again a great opportunity to interact with us. Yeah, today's audio is a surprising one. A surprising one for me because usually I'm not a fan of social media. I'm not a fan of television houses and all that. Not a fan of online speakers, on-air personalities. But I find this very audio interesting because the audio was engendered because of remarks that were made by somebody some of us see every day in Nigerian television houses. Well, I don't want to beat about the bush. I want to call a spade, as we do in Biafra Superstars Media. I want to talk briefly and very, very clearly about, what Reuben Abati, of course, was one time presidential aide to Goodluck Jonathan. Of course, you know that Reuben Abati equally, you know, is the senior anchorman at Arise Television. Of course, his name and that of, he's a fellow anchorman, you know, in the same Arise television we find has actually garnered a lot of traction in Nigeria because they have become among the who is who in Nigeria's media parlance and television houses. Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, Reuben Abati made a very poignant and very powerful, profound statement recently that caught me unawares. Caught me unawares because considering his recent penchant, rather, for disdaining most things that are evil. Yes, of course, when you remember that at one point he had come out to say that the Igbos like buying lands from other people's places. The Igbos like acquiring properties in other people's lands, but they refuse to sell their lands to strangers. Of course, a whole lot of people came out and said that particular submission, that postulation was in complete error and distorted, and it in no way holds the truth. Yes, everybody came out, every Igbo man came out and said, listen, Mr. Ruben Abati, your facts are incorrect. You don't say nobody allows a stranger to buy a land in the southeast. Of course, if you have your money, of course, if you have what it takes, and you have, of course, you're dealing with the right agent, the right persons who own the land, the right persons who are offering the land, who are selling the land. Of course, you can buy a land anywhere and build whatever you want to build everywhere. Of course, we made sure that Ruben Abati remembered, and he was informed that most of the people who built companies, edifices, resorts, hotels, and hospitality businesses in the southeast are not necessarily indigents, just like any other part of the country. And we said what he said, proclaiming and propagating such, a belief about, an interpretation of Igbo system or culture was totally inept and lacking in truth. Yes, that was how a whole lot of big people gave him the knocks. They gave him the knockdown for, saying what wasn't true about the Igbos. But equally, just a few days ago, Ruben Abati has come up again to say, yeah, that, a lot of people don't seem to realize that the civil war that happened in Nigeria between 67, 68, 69, 70 has not really ended. And of course, you might, be as amazed as I am, and you might be, equally very intrigued by this remark. So if you are, this is what Reuben said. Yes, in case you didn't get that, I want you to know what Reuben said. Yes. So let's go into it. Yeah. Yeah. Media personality Reuben Abati is of the opinion that the idea of a one-term government being proposed by Peter Obi will not stand because the civil war in this country has not ended. While speaking on Arise television this morning, the former presidential aide said he does not believe the Northerners who are already aggrieved with the Yoruba president will embrace the possibility of an Igbo president. Any politician, quote, that comes to you to say, I'm going to do only one term, that is a sign of desperation. It will not work. Just like all this gambit about serving food, carrying plates, and doing boy at parties that could be better organized by event organizers is also a sign of desperation. It doesn't work. It will never work. The second challenge is that the North will buy into this idea of one term. The second challenge is that you said the North will buy into this idea of one term. No, the North will not, because the civil war in this country has never ended. I don't believe that Northerners who are already aggrieved with the Yoruba president will just shift and embrace the possibility of an Igbo president. There are contradictions in this country that has not been sorted out, he said. That is Ruben Abati for you. Yes, the anchorman, senior anchorman at Arise Television this morning. Yes, former media aide, presidential media aide to Goodluck Ebele Jonathan. So, ladies and gentlemen, today's audio is a function of this very, profound, very, very highly pregnant and intriguing postulation and submission being made by such a personality like Ruben Abati. So, ladies and gentlemen, for the purpose of this audio this morning, I want to describe it as, the Biafra war has not ended yet. The civil war has not ended yet. My fellow Biafrans, fellow people of Biafran extraction, fellow freedom lovers, I want us to ponder on these postulations, submissions, if you like, made by none other than Reuben Abati, such a highly placed media personality, one-time presidential aide, and of course, a senior anchorman at Arise Television. This is somebody who has hobnobbed with presidents, hobnobbed with governors, hobnobbed with senior politicians in this country. This is somebody who you can see interviews and interacts with the intelligentsia, the who is who, and the mighty and the heavy, as far as Nigeria is concerned. And for this man to come out, say very, very clearly, say very, very seriously and concisely that the civil war has not ended. It's not just a Freudian sleep. No, it's not, it's not a gaffe. It is a very pregnant, postulation and worthy of our cogitations. Ladies and gentlemen, permit me, to talk about what this gentleman has said about the Civil War not being over yet. A lot of us, especially our Southeast leaders in Biafra, our governors, our legislators, they come out every day, encouraging us to support the PBAT. Yes, they support the man who said in Lokan, who said it is my turn. And they join it when they say we should support him. They are saying it with every alacrity, they are saying it with every conviction, and they are pointing to what they claim are developmental projects that the Jagaban has initiated, orchestrated, or started in the Southeast. And they said, never, never indeed have any other president, any other leader come, to take the Southeast this seriously. No former leader, no former administrator has ever took it upon themselves to develop the Southeast like the Jagaban. And they said he deserves 2027. And of course, we are hearing from every Tom, Dick, and Harry, especially the governors of Anambra State, the governor, Professor Tukuma Soludo. We're hearing from the works minister, Engineer David Umahi, former governor of Ebonyi State. We're hearing from Francis Winfrey, the current governor of Ebonyi State. We're hearing from Senator, four-time Senator, two-time governor of Abia State, Governor Senator Uzokalo. We're hearing from a whole lot of them coming out to dance to the gallery, dancing and singing and chanting that the Southeast should proclaim President Bola Ahmed Tinubu the Messiah, the liberator of the Southeast, the man, the only administrator, the president, the emperor who remembered that there is a Southeast region and who has engendered, orchestrated, and planted so many developmental projects that have both immediate and long time, successful developmental positive impact on the Southeast. Ladies and gentlemen, when you hear some of these things and you now hear this man who was a one-time presidential media aide, a man who hobnobbed with the president and governors, a man who daily interviews, daily interacts with the who is who in Nigeria, the high and mighty in Nigeria's political sphere, Nigeria's developmental sphere, Nigeria's economic fair, in every fair of national development of Nigeria. Dr. Reuben Abati saying the civil war has not ended. Yes. I think it's a big truth if we begin to take things, with a pinch of salt. We should learn to take things with a pinch of salt. We don't just accept it hook, line, and sinker. Because it is very obvious that a whole lot of people who say they speak, who say they're hiring from the horse's mouth, people who come here parading themselves as leaders to us are merely deceiving us. They are merely engaging in deceptive tactics that have every intention, mostly to derail Biafrans from their target, to derail Biafrans from the pursuit of the USB, to derail Biafrans from, the pursuit and actualization of the United States of Biafra. Ladies and gentlemen, it is worthy of note that Ruben Abati didn't just say what he's saying in isolation. He has said it here boldly and clearly that if the North of this country, the North that has ruled this country back to back since independence in 1960, since and in the First Republic, Second Republic, Third Republic, even as we are in democratic, so-called democratic episodes now, that these people have ruled us, if they don't like, according to Ruben Abati, if they have found misgivings with the Yoruba man, with the Southwest, a Yoruba man, in the person of the PBAT, if they have found, him intolerable, how much less, how much more, how much more and less would they find the Igbo man? The Southeast man. And of course, he said, remember, the civil war has not ended. Yes, what Ruben Abati here, Dr. Ruben Abati may be saying here is, in your minds, Ndibo, in your minds, Southeast people, in your minds, Southeast governors, in your minds, Southeast legislators, you think the war has ended. You think the North has forgiven, have forgotten. They have not forgotten, they have not forgiven you. Yeah, because of course they suspect it was you that orchestrated the coup that killed the Saldana. I mean, yeah, the Saldana Bello. Yes, it was you that made that corrected the coup, fomented the coup, engendered the coup that killed Tafa Balawa, the first prime minister of Nigeria. It was you that usurped power first in the history of this country from the North, and you gave it to a Southerner. Aguirre, even if he was there for a very brief period. And Ruben Abati is reminding us very categorically that if you think the North has forgotten, if you think the North, have developed amnesia, you should just know that the Civil War hasn't ended yet. That it only ended in the minds of the Southeast. Southeast governors, Southeast legislators, the Southeast people who think Nigeria is one, who think Nigeria is a unified country with one agenda. No, Reuben Abati has just confirmed, ladies and gentlemen, that of course this contraption called Nigeria failed. And after the Civil War of 66, 67, 68, 69, 70, that it shattered, things fell apart, and it never could hold together again, not even in 2025. And so whoever is saying one Nigeria, one nation, whoever is expecting this contraption called Nigeria to continue to remain one unified entity is engaging in self-delusion, is deluded, is completely out of sync with reality. Because according to him, the North has not forgotten. According to him, the Civil War has not ended. Ladies and gentlemen, maybe you don't get what I'm saying. Well, let me say it in yes. Maybe you don't get what I'm saying, but I'll say it again. Maybe this time you'll understand me. Let me change, the dialogue. The truth of the matter is, when General Gowon declared in 1970, after the Civil War, that there was no victor, no vanquished, when we thought he was speaking to the whole of Nigeria, we didn't know that statement was strictly and only made for the Southeast people who were just coming out of the war. That statement was made, for them as a way of assuaging their minds and making them believe they were walking into one unified, codified Nigeria, which was ready to grant them succor, which was ready to rehabilitate them, which was ready to reconstruct what the war had destroyed. And of course, they had thought they would be reintegrated into Nigeria. But of course, that statement was a mere illusion. It came out from the mouth of General Yakubu Gowon, but it was never, never intended to be a reality. That is why today, 2025, yes, Dr. Reuben Abati can come out and tell you that the Civil War has not ended, despite the paraphernalia, despite the celebrations, despite the proclamations by the then head of state, General Yakubu Gowon. This war is ended, no victor, no vanquished. My dear people of Biafra, we must learn to tell ourselves the truth. That the reason why the mantra, the Biafra superstars media, has always been to call a spade and not an agricultural instrument. I want to assure every one of us that why you see us today, despite our busy schedules, despite our, high profile, despite our professionalism, we still talk Biafra. We still create time to do these audios, to tell our people about Biafra, to remind them about who we are and where we are, and to let them know that the man who does not know his history, the man who does not know where he's going, will never know where he's coming from. Man who does not know where he's coming from will never know where he's going. Yes, as we have always quoted here, quoting our prolific writer, late Professor Chuma Achebe, who told us that any man, he quoted the others as saying, that the man who didn't know where the rain started beating him will never know where the rain stopped beating him. And the truth of the matter is that it is very, very shameful, very painful that we were deceived. We were deceived, my fellow Biafrans. We were deceived, my fellow Biafrans. We were deceived to think that indeed the war had ended. We were deceived to think for many years that actually something good was going to happen to the Southeast people. It's obvious now that what has been happening since that declaration of no victor, no vanquished in 1970 What had happened, what has been happening, where the Southeast has continued to be treated like a second-class fiddle. We have been treated like a defeated people. We have been treated like people who did not play any considerable or significant roles in the independence, nationalism of this country. We are treated like people who are not part of the fundamental trifold foundations, if you like, that are the stand upon which this contraption called Nigeria is standing upon. Yes, you can now imagine that it is only in the minds of the Igbo man, in the minds of the Biafran man, that indeed the Southeast people, that indeed we believed that the war, the civil war, had ended and there was no victor, no vanquished, as the General Gowon administration of that time told us and assured us and made us to believe, as they proclaimed to the international community, as they proclaimed to the United Nations, as they proclaimed to the OAU. Yes, we had thought indeed we were coming back to a Nigeria that had its hands wide open to receive us. But ladies and gentlemen, it's a very sad one that we have just been told by Dr. Reuben Abati. We have just been reminded, listen, Igbo people, listen, Southeast people, the Civil War has not ended. If I were you, I should be walking with one leg, like the fowl that came into a place that was initially flooded up, and the flood is now receding. The fowl came there. It wants to tread on it to see whether it is a soft ground or whether it is solid enough to tread upon to look for food and take some water. Of course, the proverb teaches us, elders teaches us, that that wise fowl is the one that comes treading on one leg. He sticks one leg at a time. If this one leg sinks, perhaps he can use the other leg to draw out the other to save itself from complete, swallow up, from complete harm, if you like. Ladies and gentlemen, it is very obvious now and completely very clear, clear beyond words, abundantly clear, that people who think the Civil War had ended, all this while were deceiving themselves. It is very clear from this postulation by Ruben Abati that look, if the North can reject the Yoruba man, if the North can find grievances with the Yoruba man, what do you think they would do to the Southeast man who fought them, who orchestrated the killings in the North, who are the ones, according to them, who engendered, planned the first coup, who killed their leaders, nationalists, including the Southerner, yes, the Southerner himself, and the first Prime Minister, Tafawa Balewa. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Ruben Abati could not rub it enough into our face. He could not rub it enough into our face that indeed the whole of Nigeria, the North, the Southwest, the Northeast, the North Central, the whole of Nigeria, comprising the North and the Southwest, are looking. Oh, my dear people, Ruben Abati has made us realize, in fact, we don't need a soothsayer anymore to tell us the practical truth, that we are deluded if we think we belong to Nigeria. We are imagining to be a part of a country where they still regard us as a people in a civil war. The truth has to come in here. Happy Professor Soludo, the governor of Anambra State, is hearing this. I'm happy Dr. David Umahi, the works minister, is hearing this. Happy Dr. Odu Zokalo, Senator Odu Zokalo, is hearing this. These are the people who have been championing the call, beating all the drums, sounding all the alarms, and who have been telling our Southeast people, join forces and support the Jagapa. Come back and support the Jagaban for 2027. Only then can you be sure you can be part of this country. Only then can you be sure the Southeast man can be given a chance to have a voice in Nigeria's leadership struggle. I hope they are listening, that they've been wasting their time. I hope they are listening to know that Dr. Reuben Abati here has made it abundantly clear to everybody, even the deaf, even the blind. The deaf can hear him, the blind can see him. That the war is still on in the minds of the North against the Southeast. The war is still on in the minds of the Southwest against the Southeast. The war is still on in the minds of the minorities against Biafra and the Southeast. So that every time when we're talking of the USB, a lot of people are saying it's a mirage. You are deceiving yourself. You can never attain it. And on Nigeria we stand. Remember the mantra of General Yakubu Gowon. Go on with one Nigeria. Nigeria must be one. The unity of Nigeria cannot be compromised. That is what we had. But you can see, ladies and gentlemen, it was all mere semantics. All those so-called postulations, proclamations, quote, no victor, no vanquished, the 3 R's, reconstruction, rehabilitation, reintegration, all those, let's get back to Nigeria. Nigeria must be one. All those together, we are one. United we stand as one Nigeria. All those, the Southeast is part of us. No victor, no vanquished. All those things have become mere semantics. The use of words that have no meaning in reality. Because if what Dr. Reuben Abati is telling us today, that if the Northern man has rejected the Yoruba man, if the Northern man have decided it was enough for the Jagaba, if the Yoruba Northern man has said, we don't want him again, we want a change, do you think it is the Igbo man, it is the Southeast man that will be given the chance? It doesn't matter if the Southeast man like Peter Obi come out and say, let me do one thing. Let me shorten the 8 years to 4 years, and I'll turn Nigeria around. I'll turn Nigeria to like Singapore. I'll turn Nigeria like wherever, like the UAE. I'll turn Nigeria, to make it, an industrial nation in 4 years. Because Reuben Abati said the whole, not laughing at us, laughing at the Southeast people who can never learn. You cannot learn. And it's a shame that we need a Yoruba man like Reuben Abati to tell us to our face that we don't learn. We don't have our minds intact. Otherwise, why would any sane thinking Southeast Biafra be thinking of joining politics in a country that has rejected you? A country that has rejected you not 1 time, not 5 times, not 10 times, not 50 times. And yet you continue to daydream, to imagine that one day when you go through their elections under their INEC umpires, that someday you become a president. How long are we going to be burnt by fire before we begin to avoid fire? My fellow Biafrans, it's a shame, a very big, huge shame that some of us have failed to learn. The truth of the matter, and I thank God, someone like Dr. Reuben Abati, he didn't know when it came out from his mouth. I'm sure the thing had come out. He's looking for, if he has his way now, he will want to take back the hands of the clock. But the reality is that the words have been spoken. The truth is out already. Truth of the matter is that it is not only Reuben Abati that is saying this. It is the whole of the North of Nigeria. It is not the whole of the Southwest of Nigeria. It is the whole of the minorities, people who call the Middle Belt in the North. It is the whole of those who are against. This is the mindset of all those who are against Biafra. They said, the war has not ended. The civil war has not ended. We will continue to treat you like people in war. We will not give you any opportunities. Whatever we do with you will be on face value. We'll never do any in-depth thing for you. Anything like developmental projects that will bring you up to speed to other regions, we'll make sure they don't happen. We'll continue to do multiple taxations on you. We'll continue to prevent your people, your citizens, your citizens from ascending any important position. We'll continue to subjugate you. We'll use federal character system to make sure you, the best of your minds, yes, must bow to the worst of us in other regions. Because come to think of it, why is the worst of us ruling the best of us? Why are the worst of us in charge of the best of us? Because, of course, they have brought in federal character system, saying they want to give those who are disadvantaged an opportunity to compete with those who are advantaged. And I dare ask, what made those who are advantageous? What made them advantaged? Was it not their dint of hard work and labor? Was it not because they paid done a dollar's job for a dollar's pay? It's not because they have burnt, the midnight oil to keep awake while others were sleeping. But you continue to use the so-called federal character system, so-called rotational system, and you make the worst of us to continue to rule the best of us. My fellow Biafrans, enough is enough. I decided to highlight what Reuben Abati has said, not because I'm interested in it, not because I didn't know all this while that we have been playing the fool. Those of us in the Southeast who still believe there's one Nigeria, those of us who think any good thing will come out from Nigeria, we have been playing the fool. But it's never too late. It's never too late to do a retrace of your steps. It's never too late to come to the knowledge of the truth. And what is the truth? The truth is USB is where the destiny lies. USB is the answer. Ladies and gentlemen, fellow Biafrans, the United States of Biafra offers us a unique opportunity, golden chance, to stop answering a conquered people, to stop being marginalized, to stop being treated like second fiddle. The USB is the only place you can aspire and become what you want, because nobody is going to consider you like somebody, quote and unquote, still in a civil war, according to Dr. Reuben Abati. Ladies and gentlemen, I think it's about time we use our tongues and counted our teeth. We must count our teeth because we must realize that every time we're talking Nigeria, and leaving the USB, you're leaving the USB to get all the support, all the encouragement, all the motivation, and everything that we can muster, then we're engaging in self-deceit. As far as Nigeria is concerned, we're still in a civil war, and nothing good can happen to the people of the Southeast. Hence, they are still in a civil war. The answer, ladies and gentlemen, is the USB, the United States of Biafra. I make a clarion call today. Let Mr. Dr. Reuben Abati's proclamation, let this his claim that we're still in a war, ginger all of us. Let it be a clarion call for all Biafrans to say, no, we are not in any war. We have moved on. We have moved on. We are in our own USB. We are in our own Biafran Republic. We are in our own country. Sovereign United State of Biafra. Let us shame people like Dr. Reuben Abati. Let us shame all those who are clamoring to prove to us, to demonstrate to us that we're defeated people. Let's let them know we're not defeated. Don't know. The United States of Biafra are legitimate people, never defeated, never conquered. Of course, we are the legitimate heirs of the kingdom, heirs of the throne, and we shall stand out from the crowd. Our United States of Biafra shall manifest, shall grow like a mustard seed. Yes, little, but when it grows, it becomes a gigantic fortress. Nothing shall delay us, nothing shall detract us. We are confident of victory. Delay is not denial. We know USB is the promised land. We are not a conquered people, and we will reject to be a people still in the civil war. God bless the United States of Biafra. God bless Dr. Ngozi Rabueze. Keep on, Dr. Rabueze. Keep on, keeping on, keep up the good work. Yes, Reuben Abati has told us where the civil war is still there. No, Natanan will give the Southeastern a chance. If they can reject the Yoruba, what would they not do to you? It's like saying if they can reject. So we are now a third class. We are not even worthy of giving any opportunity. If they can reject the Yoruba, what will happen to the Southeast? This is the man who parades a PhD. This is a man who is a media anchorman. This is a man who was a one-time presidential aide, representing the voice of those who look down on Biafra, those who look down on the people of the Southeast. But I give them a shout out today. They will be surprised. Surprise awaits them. We are going to shock them because we are not a defeated people. Biafrans are illegitimate people who have a legitimate agenda, and that is to propagate and to magnify our unified United States of Biafra. Ladies and gentlemen, this is enough for us to ponder upon. Dr. Reuben Abati has described us as people who are still in war, people who will never consider if they can reject a Yoruba man like PBAT, what would they think they can do to the man in the Southeast? Don't you know those people can never forget? We don't want to beg anybody to remember or to forget us. We don't want to appeal to anybody to give us any false opportunities. We know we have our own opportunities in our own land, and that is the USB, United States of Biafra. Let me punctuate it here. Let's see. I want to punctuate it here. Let's see how it goes. It's really a sad one, but it's true. As gruesome as it is to know that someone as lettered, as educated as this Ruben Abati can utter this kind of words. It shocks me to my bone marrow. But of course, the Bible says we're not ignorant of the devices of the enemies. And equally, of course, they said when you don't put your house in order, of course, the lizard, can pay you a visit. It is our brothers, our own kith and kin, people of Biafran extractions who go out still begging, still dancing naked, dancing to the gallery, to the PBAT, begging him to come to the Southeast. Those are the people who make this kind of statements, possible. But we believe in the United States of Biafra. God bless the USB, and USB will stand. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Yeah. Check me out. Superstars Media. Lord Logan, let me turn Lord Logan, and it's why Flora show 1914 amalgamation is what we dying for. 3 nations to 1 nation, ever since annihilation. Nepotism is nonsense. You and you, clap your hands. Biafra gonna come, clap your hands. Biafra, Odudua, we're free now. Freedom is gonna come, we're free now. Yeah.